My name is James Wilson. I'm 62 years old, retired firefighter from Columbus. Yesterday, my daughter Sarah sent an email that stopped me cold. Dad, I'm sorry, but Connor doesn't want you at Thanksgiving this year. He thinks you're not really what he wants around his colleagues. I stared at that screen for maybe 10 minutes. My hands, these hands that have pulled people from flames, given CPR to strangers, carried children to safety, they started shaking. So I did what I always do. I kept it simple. 3 words. That's all I typed back. Then I turned off my phone. What Connor doesn't know, what he's never bothered to find out, is that 6 years ago, I made a choice that saved his family. A choice that cost me everything I'd worked for. And those 3 words I sent back, they're about to change everything. Let me back up. Tell you how we got here. Sarah's been my whole world since her mother Ellen died 4 years ago. Cancer took Ellen fast. 62 years old, gone in 8 months. Sarah was there for everything. The chemo, the hospitals, the funeral. She met Connor about 2 years later. Corporate lawyer. Senior partner at Morrison & Klein. Makes good money. Lives in one of those neighborhoods where the lawns look like golf courses. First time I met him was at Sarah's birthday dinner. She'd been nervous all week. Dad, Connor's different from us. His family's been in law for generations. Old money. Just be yourself, but maybe don't mention the fire department right away. I should have known then. Connor showed up in a suit that probably cost more than my monthly pension. Firm handshake, good eye contact. Asked all the right questions about my career. So, James, 30 years with Columbus Fire. That's interesting. What exactly did that involve? The way he said interesting, like he was examining something under a microscope. Running into burning buildings when everyone else runs out, I told him. He laughed, not the good kind. Well, that's certainly brave. Sarah tells me you're retired now. What do you do with your time? What do I do? I wake up every morning in a house that's too quiet. Make coffee for one. Read the paper. Remember when Sarah used to call every Sunday, before she got busy with Connor's world? But I didn't say that. I keep busy, I told him. Over the months, little comments started. Never direct. Connor's too smart for that. Dad, maybe wear the blue shirt to dinner, the one without the fire department logo? Connor's bringing some colleagues to the barbecue. Maybe we could talk about something other than work stories. His parents are coming to Christmas. They're particular about appearances. Each time, Sarah looked smaller, caught between 2 worlds. The breaking point came last month, Sarah's housewarming party. Connor had invited half his law firm, big house, catered food, everyone in suits and cocktail dresses. I showed up in my best clothes, clean slacks, button-down shirt, jacket Ellen bought me for our anniversary 3 years ago. Connor met me at the door. James, good to see you. Listen, just so you know, most of these people are clients and colleagues. Important connections for Sarah's future, too. Maybe keep the blue-collar stories to a minimum tonight? Blue-collar stories, like saving lives was embarrassing. But I smiled, nodded, walked in. Spent the evening listening to conversations about stock portfolios and vacation homes in Martha's Vineyard. Watched Sarah work the room, laughing at jokes that weren't funny, agreeing with opinions that would have made her mother sick. Around 10, I found Connor in the kitchen with 3 other lawyers. Didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard my name. Sarah's father is, well, he's a good man, I'm sure, but he's just not our kind of people. You understand. Different education level. Different interests. I worry about the influence on our children someday. Our children? They weren't even engaged yet. One of the other men laughed. I get it. My wife's family has some working-class relatives. We limit exposure. Limit exposure, like I was contaminated. I left that night without saying goodbye. Sarah called the next morning. Dad, Connor said you seemed upset. Did something happen? Nothing happened, sweetheart. Are you sure? You looked, I don't know, sad. What could I tell her? That the man she loved thought her father was an embarrassment? That I'd spent 30 years risking my life for people like Connor, and he thought I wasn't good enough to breathe the same air? I'm fine, Sarah, just tired. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, the calls got shorter. The invitations stopped coming. Until yesterday's email. The email came at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was fixing a leaky faucet in the kitchen when my phone buzzed. Subject line, Thanksgiving plans. My heart did that thing it does when you think you're getting good news, but your gut knows better. Dad, I hope you're doing well. I've been meaning to call, but things have been crazy with Connor's big case. I need to talk to you about Thanksgiving. This year is really important for Connor. His parents are flying in from Boston, and his brother's family is coming too. Connor just made senior partner, and there's a lot of pressure to make the right impression. Connor feels that it might be better if it's just his family this year. He's not trying to hurt your feelings, but he thinks you and his family might not have much in common. Different backgrounds, different interests. He suggested maybe we could do something together the weekend after? Just the three of us? Would that work? I'm sorry, Dad. I know this isn't ideal, but Connor's career is really taking off, and I want to support him. Love you, Sarah. P.S. Connor wanted me to add that he thinks you're a great person. This isn't personal. Not personal. I read it twice. Then I set the phone down and went back to the faucet. My hands were steadier than I expected. Muscle memory from 30 years of emergency calls. Stay calm. Focus on the task. Feel later. But my mind was racing. Different backgrounds. Different interests. Not their kind of people. I thought about Ellen. What she'd say if she could see this. She never liked people who put on airs. Judge a person by their actions, James. Not their accent or their address. Ellen would have had some choice words for Connor, and probably for Sarah too. But Ellen wasn't here, and Sarah had made her choice. I finished the faucet, cleaned up my tools, sat at the kitchen table with my phone. The cursor blinked in the reply box for maybe 20 minutes. I started typing several responses. Sarah, I'm disappointed that... Delete. I understand Connor's position, but... Delete. After 30 years of service to this community. Delete. Each one sounded bitter, or desperate, or like I was trying to guilt-trip my daughter into choosing sides. That's not who I am. That's not who Ellen raised Sarah to love. I thought about Connor's words at the party. Not our kind of people. Maybe he was right. Maybe we weren't the same kind of people, but not for the reasons he thought. See, Connor's kind of people measure worth by job titles and bank accounts and whose name is on the invitation list. They think respect is something you buy with the right clothes and the right address. My kind of people? We measure worth differently. We measure it in how fast you run toward danger when everyone else runs away. And how many times you've held someone's hand while they took their last breath. And how long you can stay awake to make sure a family doesn't lose their home to flames. Connor thought I wasn't good enough for his Thanksgiving table? Fine. But there was something Connor didn't know. Something Sarah didn't know either because I'd never told her. Never told anyone. 6 years ago, on a Tuesday night in November, I got called to a house fire on Maple Street. Nothing unusual. Just another night for Columbus Fire Department. Except this fire was different. This fire had a 7-year-old boy trapped on the second floor. Family was out front screaming. Mother collapsed on the lawn. Father trying to run back into the house. I went in, crawled through smoke so thick you couldn't see your own hand. Found the kid hiding under his bed, unconscious from smoke inhalation. 9 minutes. That's how long I was inside that house. 9 minutes of hell. Ceiling coming down. Walls buckling. Heat so intense it melted my helmet. But I got him out. Carried him to the ambulance. Watched the paramedics bring him back to life. The kid lived. Family was grateful. Local news wanted to do a story, but I declined. That's not what we do it for. What I didn't know, what I didn't find out until 3 years later when Sarah brought Connor to Christmas dinner, was that the little boy I saved was Tommy Morrison, Connor's nephew, Connor's brother Michael's son, the golden child of the Morrison family, the future lawyer, the one they all dote on at family gatherings. Connor has spent 2 years telling people I'm not good enough for his family. He has no idea that his family only exists because of me. Because I chose to run into a burning building when everyone else stayed safe outside. Because I spent 9 minutes in hell to save a child I'd never met. Because I came out of that fire with second-degree burns on my hands and arms and never once regretted it. The burns healed. The scars faded. But Connor's nephew lived to see his 14th birthday last month. And Connor thinks I'm embarrassing. I looked at my phone, at the cursor still blinking in that reply box. Different backgrounds, Connor had said. He was right about that. We do have different backgrounds. His background is privilege and prejudice and thinking your worth comes from your bank account. My background is running toward danger to save people like him. And right now, he's decided I'm not worth a seat at his table. So I typed 3 words. 3 words that said everything I needed to say. 3 words that would let Sarah know exactly where I stood, without making her choose sides. 3 words that gave Connor exactly what he wanted, while keeping my dignity intact. I understand, son. Send. Then I turned off my phone.
You want to know what those burns cost me? Let me tell you about the real price of heroism. See, Connor thinks I retired at 56 because I wanted to. Nice pension, early retirement, live the good life. He's wrong about that too. I retired because I had to. Because third-degree burns on your hands and arms mean you can't grip a hose properly anymore.
Can't carry someone down a ladder when your grip gives out. Can't be trusted with other people's lives when your body won't do what your mind tells it to. The department offered desk duty, medical pension. You've done enough, Wilson. Take the easy road. But that's not why I became a firefighter. I didn't sign up to push papers, so I took early retirement instead, left 6 years of salary on the table, $112,000 in pension benefits that I'll never see. Gone. The medical bills were their own nightmare. $28,000 for skin grafts, physical therapy, pain management. Insurance covered most of it, but not all. Never all. Ellen was alive then, still fighting her own battle with cancer, but she held my hand through every doctor's appointment, every painful night when the scars pulled tight. "You did the right thing, James," she'd whisper when the pain kept me awake. "You saved that boy. That's what matters." Easy to say. Harder to live with when you're 56 years old, can't do the job you love, and your savings account is bleeding money for medical bills. But Ellen was right. It was worth it. What I didn't know was that 3 years later, I'd meet the uncle of the boy I saved, and he'd spend the next 2 years trying to erase me from his family. The irony is perfect. Connor Morrison built his career on justice, defending the innocent, fighting for people's rights. But he's never asked about my rights. Never wondered if maybe, just maybe, his blue-collar father-in-law might have a story worth hearing. I watch him at family dinners, talking about his cases. The widow he's helping with her husband's wrongful death lawsuit. The family he's representing against a negligent company. Connor fights for justice when there's money in it, when it looks good on his resume. Me? I fought for justice every Tuesday night for 30 years, for free, because it was right. After Ellen died, Sarah was all I had left. She'd come over every Sunday. We'd make breakfast together. Her mother's recipe for blueberry pancakes? She'd tell me about work, about Connor, about their plans. I lived for those Sundays. Slowly, they got shorter. Sarah would check her phone more, cut conversations off when Connor called. "Sorry, Dad. Connor's taking me to meet some clients, important for his career. Connor's family is in town. Rain check on Sunday breakfast? Connor thinks we should spend more time with his social circle. Networking, you know? Each Sunday that got canceled felt like losing Ellen all over again, but I never complained, never made Sarah choose, because that's not what fathers do. We protect our children's happiness, even when it costs us our own. The house got quieter. The phone rang less. I started making coffee for one every morning. Ellen's mug stayed in the cabinet. Some mornings I'd stand in the kitchen where I used to cook breakfast for 3 people. Now it's just me and the newspaper and the sound of my own breathing. You want to know what sacrifice looks like? It's sitting alone in a house full of memories, watching your daughter build a life that doesn't include you, and never saying a word about it. Because love isn't about what you get. It's about what you give up. I gave up 6 years of salary for a boy I'd never met. I gave up the career I loved because my body couldn't keep up. I gave up fighting for my place in Sarah's life because I wanted her to be happy. And Connor gave up nothing. But he got everything. He got Sarah. He got the career. He got the respect and the money and the big house and the important friends. And now he wants to give up me too. Here's what Connor doesn't understand about sacrifice. It's not about what you lose. It's about what you save. I lost $112,000 in pension benefits, but I saved Tommy Morrison's life. I lost my career, but I saved a family from losing their son. I lost my place at the Thanksgiving table, but I saved Sarah from having to choose between her father and her future. That's the difference between Connor's kind of people and mine. His kind take what they want and call it success. Mine give what we have and call it service. The scars on my hands are fading now, pale lines across my palms and fingers. Most people don't even notice them anymore, but I feel them every day. When I grip my coffee mug in the morning, when I turn the pages of the newspaper, when I hold my phone to read another email about how I'm not welcome somewhere. Those scars remind me who I am, what I've done, what I'm capable of. Connor sees an embarrassing blue-collar retiree who doesn't fit his image. I see the hands that carried his nephew to safety, the arms that lifted a child from death to life. The body that took the punishment so a 7-year-old boy could grow up to be 14. So when Connor says I'm not his kind of people, he's absolutely right. I'm better. And tomorrow, when Sarah calls to ask why I haven't responded to her email, I'll tell her the same thing I've told her for 2 years. Whatever makes you happy, sweetheart. Because that's what love looks like when you're not keeping score. But tonight I'm going to sit in Ellen's chair and remember what it felt like to be a hero, before I became an embarrassment. Coffee for one, always. But some nights, that's enough. After I sent that reply, I sat in the kitchen for an hour. Just sat. Ellen's chair across from me, empty like it's been for 4 years. But I could almost hear her voice. "James Wilson, you stubborn fool. Tell her the truth." That's what Ellen would say. She never liked secrets, never liked letting people draw their own conclusions when the facts would set things straight. "Pride goes before a fall," she'd remind me when I got too quiet about my own accomplishments. But this wasn't about pride. This was about Sarah. See, I could have told Connor the truth years ago. Could have pulled out the newspaper clipping from November 2018. Could have shown him the photo of me carrying Tommy out of that burning house. Could have watched his face change when he realized that his embarrassing father-in-law was the reason his nephew was still breathing. But then what? Then Connor would have felt obligated to include me, guilty into respect. And Sarah would have been caught in the middle of a family drama that should never have existed. That's not how I want my daughter's love. Guilt-tripped and complicated and tainted with her husband's shame. Either I'm worth a seat at that table as James Wilson, retired firefighter, or I'm not worth it at all. Connor made his choice. Now I'm making mine. I walked to the hall closet. Top shelf behind Ellen's winter coats that I can't bring myself to donate. A cardboard box I haven't opened in 2 years. My service records, commendations, photos from retirement dinner, and the newspaper clipping. Local hero saves child from blaze. The headline ran in 72-point font, front page of the Columbus Dispatch. Photo of me, soot-covered and bandaged, declining an interview. Firefighter James Wilson risked his life Tuesday night to save 7-year-old Tommy Morrison from a house fire on Maple Street. Wilson sustained second-degree burns but refused medical attention until the child was safely transported to Children's Hospital. Below the text, a photo. Me carrying a small boy out of a burning house. You can see the flames through the upstairs windows. See the smoke pouring from the roof. You can also see the boy's face. Tommy Morrison, unconscious but breathing. Connor's nephew. The golden child of the Morrison family. Alive because I chose to run into hell. I could take this clipping to Sarah's house right now. Could lay it on Connor's desk. Could watch him realize that his blue-collar embarrassment is the reason his family is intact. But that would make me exactly the kind of person I hate. The kind who keeps a scorecard. Who saves lives for recognition instead of just because it's right. Some fights aren't worth having. This isn't about proving Connor wrong. It's about proving myself right. Right about what kind of man I am. What kind of father I want to be. What kind of legacy I want to leave. Ellen used to say, "Character is who you are when nobody's watching." Well, nobody's watching now. Just me in this empty house and a box full of memories. Who am I when nobody's watching? I'm the man who saved a child and never asked for thanks. I'm the father who put his daughter's happiness above his own pride. I'm the man who knows the difference between respect that's earned and respect that's demanded. Connor doesn't want me at his Thanksgiving table? Fine. I don't need his table. I don't need his approval. I don't need his guilt or his obligation or his after-the-fact gratitude. I need my daughter to be happy. And if being happy means choosing Connor's world over mine, then that's what she should do. Because that's what love looks like when you're not keeping score. I put the clipping back in the box, put the box back on the shelf, closed the closet door, then I went to the kitchen and started planning my own Thanksgiving. For one, like always. But this year, I won't be waiting for the phone to ring. This year, I'm done waiting. Thursday morning, my phone started buzzing at 7 a.m. Sarah's number. I let it ring. 10 minutes later, another call. Then a text. "Dad, please call me back. I'm worried." Then another. "Connor's asking why you haven't responded. Are you okay?" At 8:30, she called again. This time I answered. "Hi, sweetheart. Dad, thank God. I've been trying to reach you since yesterday. Did you get my email?" I did. "And? What do you think? About Thanksgiving?" I took a sip of coffee. Ellen's mug still sitting on the counter, unused. "I think I understand Connor's position perfectly." Silence on the other end. Then, "Okay, and?" And I replied, told him I understand. "That's it? That's all you said? That's all that needed saying? More silence. I could hear Connor in the background asking questions she couldn't answer. Dad, you're being weird. This isn't like you. What isn't like me? Being so calm about this, I expected you to be upset, to argue or ask me to reconsider or what, Sarah? I don't know. Something. Anything. Instead of just accepting it. I set down my coffee mug, looked out the window at the maple tree in my backyard, the same tree Sarah used to climb when she was Tommy Morrison's age. Maybe I'm tired of fighting for invitations where I'm not wanted.
That's not fair, Dad. Connor doesn't not want you. He just thinks I'm not his kind of people, I know. You said that in your email. I never said that. You didn't have to. Connor did. At your housewarming party. Different education level, different interests. I worry about the influence on our children someday. Dead silence. Dad, you heard that? I hear a lot of things, sweetheart. Doesn't mean I have to respond to all of them. Why didn't you say something, that night or after? What was I supposed to say? That your husband thinks your father is contamination? He doesn't think that, doesn't he? I could hear her breathing, hear Connor asking questions she was ignoring. Dad, maybe we should talk about this in person. Come over tonight. Let's work this out. Nothing to work out. Connor made his feelings clear. I respect that. But your family. Am I? Because Connor's family doesn't seem to include people with my background. That's not what he meant. Then what did he mean, Sarah? Another long pause. When she spoke again, her voice was smaller. I don't know. Maybe you should ask him yourself. Maybe I should, but not tonight. Tonight I've got plans. What plans? I looked at the cardboard box I'd pulled out again that morning, sitting on the kitchen table, waiting. I'm organizing some old papers, things I should have dealt with years ago. What kind of papers? Just memories, photos, things your mother kept. That wasn't entirely true. Ellen didn't keep these particular papers. I did, because sometimes you need proof of who you are, even if you never plan to use it. Dad, you're scaring me. You sound like you're giving up on something. I'm not giving up on anything, sweetheart. I'm just clarifying my position. What position? That I love you, that I want you to be happy, and that if being happy means choosing Connor's world over mine, then you should choose Connor's world. It's not about choosing sides, isn't it? She didn't answer that, couldn't answer it, because we both knew she'd already chosen. Dad, what did you mean when you said you replied to Connor? What exactly did you tell him? I told him I understand. Understand what? That he doesn't want me at his Thanksgiving. That I'm not his kind of people. That my presence would be uncomfortable. And that's it? That's it? But Dad, you're not angry? I thought about that question. Thought about anger and what it accomplishes. Thought about Tommy Morrison, 14 years old now, probably excited about spending Thanksgiving with his Uncle Connor's new in-laws, not knowing that the man they'd uninvited was the reason he was alive to be excited about anything. No, sweetheart, I'm not angry. You're not? Anger is what you feel when someone treats you unfairly. But Connor's not being unfair. He's being honest. He doesn't want his blue-collar father-in-law embarrassing him in front of his family. Dad? And you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe I would embarrass him. Maybe his family is used to a different kind of conversation, different kind of people. You're being sarcastic. Am I? Or am I just finally seeing things clearly? I opened the cardboard box, pulled out the newspaper clipping, looked at the photo of me carrying Tommy Morrison to safety. Dad, please, come over tonight. Let's talk about this face to face. Can't tonight, sweetheart. Like I said, I've got things to organize. What things? I smoothed out the newspaper clipping. November 15th, 2018. Local hero saves child from blaze. Just some old news articles, nothing important. Dad, you're being really weird about this. Am I? Or am I just being realistic? What's that supposed to mean? It means sometimes the truth is simpler than we want it to be. Connor thinks I'm not good enough for his family, so I'm not going to impose myself where I'm not wanted. But what about us? What about our relationship? Our relationship will be fine, sweetheart. Just different. Different how? I folded the newspaper clipping, put it back in the box. We'll figure it out as we go. Friday afternoon, Connor called me directly. First time he'd ever done that. James? It's Connor Morrison. We need to talk. Hello, Connor. What can I do for you? Sarah's been upset since she talked to you yesterday. She says you're acting strange about Thanksgiving. Strange how?
Too understanding. She thinks you're planning something. I almost laughed. What would I be planning? I don't know. But Sarah knows you better than I do, and she's worried. About what? About the fact that you're not fighting this. She expected you to be angry, to demand an explanation, to make her choose sides. And you're disappointed that I didn't? Silence. Then, I'm confused that you didn't. Maybe you don't know me as well as you think. Maybe I don't. Which is why I'm calling. Sarah wants us to meet tonight. Work this out man to man. Work what out? This situation. About Thanksgiving. I thought the situation was settled. You don't want me there. I understand. End of discussion. But Sarah doesn't understand. She can't figure out why you're being so accepting about it. And you? Do you understand? Another pause, longer this time. No, I don't. Most fathers would be furious, would demand respect, would make their daughters choose between their husband and their father. Most fathers aren't me. What makes you different? I looked at the cardboard box on my kitchen table. Still sitting there. Still waiting.
Some fights aren't worth having, Connor. This fight isn't worth having? Is it a fight? I thought it was just you explaining your preferences for your holiday dinner.
James, I think there's been a misunderstanding.
Has there?
Yes. I never said I didn't want you at Thanksgiving. I said it might be complicated, with my family coming. Different backgrounds, different kinds of people. Yes, I remember. That's not what I meant. What did you mean? He struggled with that one. I could hear him trying to find words that didn't sound as bad as his original ones. I meant that my family is formal, traditional. They have certain expectations about conversation, about behavior, about class. That's not what I said. It's what you meant. James, look, maybe I came across wrong. Maybe I was too concerned about impressions. But this doesn't have to be a big deal. We can work something out. Like what? Like,
maybe you could join us for dessert. After the formal dinner, more casual. I set down my coffee mug harder than I intended. You want me to come for dessert? It would be a compromise. You'd be included, but what, Connor? But it wouldn't be the full experience. The full experience of sitting at your table, with your family, being treated like an equal. James, that's not what? That's not what you meant? Or that's not what I deserve? For the first time in this conversation, Connor went completely quiet. I think we should meet, he said finally. Tonight, my office, 7 o'clock. Your office. It's neutral ground. We can talk without Sarah getting upset. And say what? Whatever needs to be said, man to man. I looked at the box again. Thought about Tommy Morrison. Thought about 9 minutes in a burning house. Thought about $112,000 in lost pension benefits. Thought about Connor sitting in his leather chair, behind his expensive desk, explaining to me why I wasn't good enough for his family. All right, Connor, 7 o'clock. Good. Morrison and Klein, 5th floor. Ask for me at reception. I'll be there. James, bring an open mind. I always do. After I hung up, I sat in the kitchen for a long time, staring at that box. Ellen's voice again. Tell him the truth, James. Some people can't see what's right in front of them. But this wasn't about making Connor see. This was about finding out who he really was when faced with the truth. I opened the box, pulled out the newspaper clipping, the fire department commendation, the hospital bracelet from November 2018, the medical bills for $28,000 in burn treatment, and the photo, the one the newspaper didn't print, the one taken by a bystander with his phone, me, carrying Tommy Morrison out of the flames, the boy's face clearly visible, unconscious but breathing, Connor's nephew. The golden child of the Morrison family, alive because a blue-collar embarrassment decided to run into hell. I put everything in a manila envelope, sealed it, wrote Connor Morrison on the front. Then I called Sarah. Dad, how did it go with Connor? We're meeting tonight, his office. Oh, good. I knew you two could work this out. We'll see, sweetheart. Dad, whatever happens, I want you to know I love you, both of you. I just want everyone to get along. I know you do, and I love you too. So you'll try? To find some middle ground? I looked at the manila envelope sitting on my kitchen table. I'll try to find the truth. What's that supposed to mean? It means some conversations have been a long time coming. Dad, you're being cryptic again. Am I? Or am I just being careful? Careful about what? About saying things that can't be unsaid? What kind of things? I picked up the manila envelope, felt the weight of 6 years' worth of silence,
The kind that changed everything, sweetheart. Dad, you're scaring me again. Don't be scared, be proud. Proud of what? You'll find out tonight. At 6:45, I drove to Morrison and Klein, 5th floor, glass offices, marble floors, everything designed to impress and intimidate. Connor was waiting in the lobby, suit and tie, home territory advantage. James, thanks for coming. Thanks for the invitation. Let's go to my office. We rode the elevator in silence, walked down a hallway lined with portraits of senior partners, all men, all white, all looking like they'd never spent a day worrying about money or wondering if they were good enough. Connor's office was corner suite, view of downtown Columbus, diplomas on the wall, awards and commendations, photos with politicians and judges. Have a seat, he said, gesturing to a chair across from his desk. I sat down, set the manila envelope on my lap. What's that? Connor asked. Something you should see. Before we get to that, let me explain my position. I'm listening. Connor leaned back in his leather chair, steepled his fingers. Lawyer pose. James, I want you to know that I respect what you've done with your life. 30 years of service. That's admirable. But Sarah deserves a certain lifestyle, certain opportunities, and part of that means being connected to the right people, people who can help her career, her future, people like your family. Yes, my family has connections, influence, resources that could benefit Sarah. And I don't. You have other qualities, but not those specific advantages. I nodded. I see. So when I suggested that Thanksgiving might be complicated, I was thinking about Sarah's long-term interests, not trying to hurt your feelings. Sarah's interests. Exactly. And what are Sarah's interests, Connor? Security, stability, access to opportunities she wouldn't have otherwise. Through your connections. Yes, through your family. Yes, through people who appreciate her, background, through people who can help her succeed. I opened the manila envelope, pulled out the newspaper clipping. Connor, what's your nephew's name? He blinked. My nephew. Your brother's son, the one who'll be at Thanksgiving. Tommy, why? I handed him the newspaper clipping. Because I think it's time you knew who your family really is. Connor took the newspaper clipping with the casual confidence of a man who'd never been surprised by information. He glanced at the headline, then at the photo. Then his expression changed. What is this? Columbus Dispatch, November 15th, 2018, front page. Connor's eyes moved from the headline to the photo, back to the headline, back to the photo. This is Tommy. Yes. This is my nephew. Yes. And this is me, carrying him out of a burning house. Connor's hands started shaking, actually shaking. The newspaper clipping trembled as he held it. You saved Tommy? I did. From the fire on Maple Street? I did. But you never... Why didn't you... Connor set the clipping down on his desk, stared at it like it was written in a foreign language. 6 years, I said quietly. I've known you for 2 years. You've spent 2 years telling people I'm not your kind of people. And I've known for all of it that your nephew is alive because I chose to run into a burning building when everyone else stayed safe. Connor picked up the clipping again. Read it more carefully this time. Firefighter James Wilson sustained second-degree burns but refused medical attention until the child was safely transported to Children's Hospital. Third-degree burns, actually. The reporter got that wrong. Third degree? I pulled up my sleeves, showed Connor the scars on my forearms, pale lines and patches where the skin grafts took hold. 9 minutes in that house, ceiling coming down, walls buckling, heat so intense it melted my helmet. But Tommy was under his bed, unconscious. Someone had to get him out. Connor stared at my scars, then at the photo, then at me. You never said anything. What was I supposed to say? That you saved my nephew's life, that our family owes you everything. Do you? Do we what? Owe me everything? Connor looked confused. Yes, of course, if you hadn't been there. If I hadn't been there, some other firefighter would have gone in. That's what we do. But you're the one who did it. I'm the one who happened to be on duty that night. James, this changes everything, does it? What do you mean, does it? You saved Tommy's life. You're a hero. I pulled out the hospital bracelet, the one with my name and dates from November 2018. Set it on Connor's desk next to the newspaper clipping. I'm the same person I was yesterday, Connor. Same education level, same background. Same blue-collar embarrassment who doesn't fit with your kind of people. But you saved... I did my job. Your job? My job. For 30 years. Running toward danger so people like you don't have to. Connor was quiet for a long time, staring at the evidence spread across his desk. Why didn't you tell me, when we first met, when I said those things at Sarah's party? What things? You know what things. About different backgrounds, about limiting exposure. Because it shouldn't matter. What shouldn't matter? What I did for Tommy. Either I'm worth knowing as James Wilson, retired firefighter, or I'm not worth knowing at all. Either I deserve respect for who I am, or I don't deserve it at all. But this proves you're, what, a hero? Special? Different from what you thought? Yes. No, Connor, this proves I'm exactly who I've always been. Someone who runs toward danger to help people. Someone who sacrifices for strangers. Someone who doesn't keep score. I pulled out the medical bills. $28,000 in treatment costs. Set them on the desk. These are what it cost to save your nephew, along with 6 years of pension benefits I lost when I had to retire early. $112,000 total. Connor looked at the bills. You lost your pension? Couldn't do the job anymore. Not with hands that don't grip right. Not with scars that pull tight in cold weather. So you sacrificed your career, your financial security, for Tommy. For a 7-year-old boy I'd never met. For my family. For a child who needed help. Connor leaned back in his chair, put his head in his hands. Jesus, James, I had no idea. I know. All this time I've been treating you like I wasn't good enough for your family. Yes. And now? Connor looked up. Now I realize my family isn't good enough for you. That's not what this is about, isn't it? You saved the most important person in our family. You sacrificed everything, and I treated you like you were beneath us. You treated me like you thought I was, based on your assumptions about class and education and what makes someone valuable. I was wrong. Were you? What do you mean? I mean, am I different now than I was an hour ago? Have my education level or my background or my blue-collar history changed? Connor didn't answer. The only thing that's changed, Connor, is what you know about what I've done. But what I've done doesn't change who I am. It reveals who I've always been. Someone extraordinary. Someone ordinary who did what needed doing. That's not ordinary, James. It is for firefighters. It is for cops and paramedics and soldiers and teachers and nurses and all the other blue-collar people you think aren't your kind. Connor was quiet again, processing. What do you want from me? He asked finally. I don't want anything from you. That can't be true. It is true. But surely you want an apology, recognition, gratitude? I want you to understand something. What? That heroism isn't about who you are. It's about what you choose to do when it matters. And what did I choose? You chose to judge people by their job titles instead of their character. You chose to value appearances over actions. You chose to exclude rather than include. You're right. I know I'm right. The question is, what are you going to choose now? Connor sat in silence for 5 full minutes, just staring at the evidence spread across his desk. The newspaper clipping, the hospital bracelet, the medical bills. Finally, he spoke. How do I fix this? You don't. What do you mean? I mean, some things can't be fixed. Only learned from. James, I need to make this right. With who? With you, with Sarah, with my family. Your family doesn't know. About what you did? No. Tommy was so young he barely remembers the fire. My brother and sister-in-law never knew the firefighter's name. It was all so chaotic, so traumatic. And now I have to tell them. I have to tell everyone. Do you? Connor looked confused. Of course. They have a right to know. Tommy has a right to know who saved his life. And then what? Then we give you the respect you deserve, the gratitude you've earned, the place in our family that you should have had all along. Respect I've earned? Yes. Connor, what if I told you I don't want your earned respect? I don't understand. I want the respect you should give any decent person, regardless of what they've done for you. I want the respect you should have given me from the beginning, just because I'm Sarah's father. But that's different. How? Because now I know who you really are. I'm the same person I was 2 hours ago, the same person I was when we met, the same person you decided wasn't good enough for your Thanksgiving table. Connor rubbed his temples. You're making this more complicated than it needs to be. Am I? Or am I making it exactly as simple as it should be? I don't know the difference anymore. The difference is this. If you invite me to Thanksgiving now, is it because you respect James Wilson, Sarah's father? Or is it because you feel guilty about Tommy Morrison? Does it matter? It matters to me. Why? Because I don't want your guilt, Connor. I don't want your obligation. I don't want invitations that come from gratitude instead of genuine inclusion. Connor was quiet again. When he spoke, his voice was smaller. Then what do you want? I want you to think about the other people in your life that you've written off because they don't have the right job or the right background or the right connections. What other people? The parking attendant at your office building, the woman who cleans your house, the mechanic who fixes your car. The people you interact with every day who you never really see. That's not the same thing, isn't it? Those people aren't family. No, but they're people. Human beings with stories and sacrifices and heroic moments you'll never know about because you've already decided they're not worth knowing. Connor leaned forward. James, I can't change how I've treated everyone in my life, but I can change how I treat you. Can you? Yes. How? However you want me to. I want you to treat me exactly the way you would treat any father-in-law you respected. But you're not any father-in-law. You're the man who saved my nephew. No, Connor. I'm the man who married the woman who raised your wife. I'm the man who walked Sarah down the aisle. I'm the man who loves her unconditionally and wants her to be happy. But the fire was my job. Being Sarah's father is my life. Connor picked up the newspaper clipping again, looked at the photo of me carrying Tommy to safety. I don't know how to separate those things. Then maybe that's what you need to learn. How? By asking yourself, if I hadn't saved Tommy, would I still deserve a place at your family table? And if the answer is no, then don't invite me, because I won't come. And if the answer is yes, then maybe you've learned something about what really makes someone worth knowing. Connor folded the newspaper clipping carefully, set it aside. Sarah's going to ask what we talked about. Tell her we talked about family, about what it means to belong somewhere. She's going to want to know if you're coming to Thanksgiving. Are you inviting me? I want to, but not for the reasons I started with. What reasons? Because you're Sarah's father. Because family matters. Because everyone deserves to belong somewhere. And the fire? The fire proves you're a better man than I am, but that's not why I'm inviting you. Why are you inviting me? Because I was wrong about class, about what makes someone valuable, about you. I stood up, gathered the hospital bracelet and medical bills, left the newspaper clipping on his desk. Keep that, I said, not as proof of what I did, as a reminder of what you learned. Will you come to Thanksgiving? I'll think about it. James? Yes? I'm sorry. I know you are, son. Thank you. For what? For teaching me something I should have known all along. Thanksgiving morning I woke up at 6 a.m., made coffee for one, like always, but this time my phone was buzzing with messages. From Sarah. Dad, Connor told me everything. I'm so sorry. Please come today, please. From Connor. James, my whole family wants to meet the man who saved Tommy. But more than that, I want them to meet Sarah's father. From a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Wilson, this is Michael Morrison, Connor's brother. I don't know how to thank you. Please let us try. I sat in Ellen's chair and read them all. Thought about what Ellen would say. Go, you stubborn fool. Let them love you. At 3 p.m., I drove to Connor's house. Same house where I'd felt unwelcome 6 months ago. Same driveway where I'd questioned my worth. Connor met me at the door. But this time he wasn't alone. A teenager stood beside him. Tall, thin, Connor's eyes. Uncle Connor, is this him? Tommy, this is James Wilson, Sarah's father, and yes, this is him. Tommy stuck out his hand. Firm grip. Good eye contact. Mr. Wilson, Connor says you saved my life. I did my job. Well, thank you for doing your job. You're welcome. Inside, Connor's family was waiting, parents from Boston, brother and sister-in-law, Sarah in the kitchen, crying happy tears. But here's what surprised me. They didn't treat me like a hero. They treated me like family. Connor's mother asked about Ellen. His father talked about his own service in Vietnam. Michael showed me photos of Tommy's baseball team. At dinner, I sat between Sarah and Tommy. Connor raised his glass. To family, he said. To the people who show us what really matters. To firefighters, Tommy added. To people who run toward danger so the rest of us don't have to. To fathers, Sarah whispered, squeezing my hand. To the ones who love us, even when we forget to love them back. After dinner, Connor pulled me aside. James, I learned something these past few days. What's that? That heroism isn't just about running into burning buildings. It's about staying patient with people who don't deserve it. It's about loving without keeping score. It's about being better than the treatment you receive. Maybe. You taught me that. Not by saving Tommy, by saving me. From what? From becoming someone I wouldn't be able to live with. I looked around Connor's house, at his family, at Sarah laughing with her mother-in-law,
At Tommy, alive and healthy and surrounded by people who love him.
Pass the gravy, son. Connor smiled. Yes, sir. Some fights aren't worth having, but some people are worth forgiving. And sometimes the people who need saving the most are the ones who never see the fire coming.